So here's part 2 of my death to the BCS video. I had a debate with a childhood pal, and he asked me how would I have the college football season end. My answer is like everybody else, have a playoff. Now, I have found a way to do this, and I've actually put it into use in the 2008 season on my Nintendo Wii with NCAA Football 2009. There was one thing and only one thing I didn't agree with on Wetzel and Company's playoff idea. That was have 5 at-large bids because it's a selective process where somebody gets the shaft. So I have come up with this formula that could work. There are 11 conferences and 1 independent division. I have decided to make the small independent division have a conference representative. So there's 12 teams and I use 4 wild cards. This is why I want to see a conference championship in every conference, as I stated in the second bullet point. The winner gets an automatic berth, and the wild cards are determined in a pool of runners-ups, and that includes the runner-up from the independent division. If there's a tie at any time, the first tiebreaker is the overall record. The second tiebreaker is number of points scored, or points for in the column. If you ever look at it, the standings, they have points for, points against. Points for is how many points they racked up, if you didn't know. So if there's any excuse these powerhouse schools can use to run up the score, that's it, having a lot of points. So many needless bloodbaths of Division I AA teams, and all are fruitless. Here, running up the score will be useful. So looking at the standings of the 2010 season, here's who's in this playoff just for winning their conference. Virginia Tech, ACC. Oklahoma, Big 12. Central Florida, Conference USA. Miami of Ohio from the Mid-American Conference, or known as the MAC, and Auburn from the SEC, who had a perfect 13-0 record. The rest is determined by standings. Now, this is the conferences that don't have conference championship games, but they win by standings. Big East, West Virginia. There was a 3-way logjam with Connecticut and some other team, and Virginia gets in because of their 9-3 record. They had a better overall record. A real mess was in the Big Ten. Another 3-way tie in conference record, 7-1. This is between Michigan State, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. They both had 7-1 records, and they also had 11-1 records overall. But Wisconsin gets the win because of the 362 points they scored in their conference games. Mountain West had TCU with a clean 8-0 record of their conference, 12-0 overall. Pac-10 had a clear-cut winner with Oregon at 9-0 in their conference, 12th overall. Out of the Sun Belt is Troy with the tiebreaker with a better record than Florida International. Troy was 7-5. The WAC has Nevada with 12 wins, more than Boise State and Hawaii, despite the 7-1 traffic jam these 3 teams have. Finally, out of the independent, the Navy came out at 9-3. Now, I've mentioned 16 colleges, or 12 at least champions of their division. Now, you'll also hear 4 wild cards. And this is done by seeding. There's 3 criteria involved with the seeding. The first is record, of course. That's, who has the most wins. The tiebreaker is also how many points a team scored. Now, there's an instance on the 5th and 6th seed, which I will get to, where you're going to have to decide who wins that tie. So here we go. Number 1, Auburn, 13-0. 2, Oregon, 12-0. 3, TCU, 12-0. Nevada's number 4 with 12-1. Here's the tie. Wisconsin and Boise State both have identical 11-1 records, and they both have 520 points. But since Wisconsin won the Big Ten and Boise finished second behind Nevada, then that means Wisconsin is going to get the number 5 seed. Boise State will be 6th. 7, Stanford, 11-1. The same record as Wisconsin and Boise State, but they have 484 points. 8, Ohio State. They were 11-1 also, but with 473 points. 9, Oklahoma, 11-2. As mentioned, 472 points. 10th is Virginia Tech. Same record as Oklahoma with 463 points. Utah, number 11 at 10-2. 12th is Northern Illinois, 10-3. 13th is Central Florida, also 10-3, but they have fewer points than Northern Illinois. 14th, Navy, 9-4. West Virginia was number 15 at 9-4, but they had 52 fewer points than the Navy. And finally, to round out the bottom feeder, and they'll have to go to Alabama, or Auburn, will be Troy, 7-5. Doesn't matter how many points they scored. So now that the seedings are set, the playoff is ready to go. First 3 rounds are at the higher seeding school. Simple as that. Meaning Troy wouldn't have to go far to get hammered by Auburn. The championship game can be played at a neutral site and give people a couple weeks to get their tickets. The tournament can cover 4 weekends, and since there is college football played on odd days of the week like Tuesday, they can start the first round on Wednesday or even Thursday and work their way down. It's not rocket science here. Win or go home. That's how it works. With the 8 remaining runners-up who didn't make the playoffs, how about a fun consolation tournament during the playoffs? Kind of just fills the monotony of crappy bowl games. Kind of like the NIT in college basketball. You have 8 teams, 7 games. That should be an interesting idea, and dump all these financially burdensome bowl games that leave schools worse off than they were if they didn't go to a bowl game. I've had this plan for a while, and while it might sound strange at first, it sure beats what we have deciding who wins a national championship today. You know, things like computers and the human element. This way, the human element is completely taken out of the equation. Thank you for your time.